You can smash the like button, if you will. Yeah, how about it for somebody? Look, she's an award-winning investigative journalist and author. Her latest has really met its moment, I think. It's called We're Here to Help When Guardianship Goes Wrong. It's all about this completely underregulated industry of guardianship. How about it for Diane Dimond, everybody?
Well,
look at you, Diane Dimond. Wow.
Great to be with you, Mark.
It is so cool to see you. You've done so much. I really, I bow at the feet of your career. What an amazing career you've had. Really impressive.
Well, much of it was out there in Los Angeles, where you are. I'm in New York now, but I was out there for quite a while.
Hey, let me ask you a question about your career, because we said you were going to be on, and people know you from, I think, Hard Copy. They knew you from that, and also, some of the anchor work you've done, and you've done a lot of very high-profile stuff on justice and crime, and that's really your thing. And I love this book. I mean, I love that you're doing this book, and I want to get right into conservatorship. I wanted to ask you, being so, you're such a credible journalist. Did you have worries about anchoring a Hard Copy or a tabloidy show? It was super popular, Hard Copy. Or did you feel like that was an opportunity in a way to get some stuff done?
Well, it was an opportunity for me personally because, frankly, I had a kid to put through college. And they paid really well. But seriously, you know what I loved about Hard Copy was I was the senior correspondent for Crime and Justice, whatever it was. And they let me go. If I needed 7 minutes to tell a story or 15 minutes to tell a story, that they gave me that. They gave me the freedom to break the Michael Jackson story.
Right.
There were a lot of people in Hollywood who were saying, hey, don't touch it. Don't touch it. What are you doing? Don't do it. And Hard Copy, Paramount Pictures, they let me do it. And
yeah, that's so true. In fact, it was really like the worst kept secret that there was something going on with Michael Jackson, and you really did. You went after it. You wrote a book about it, didn't you? I thought you wrote a book about it. Yeah,
I did. Well, I broke it first at Hard Copy, and then years later, when I was working for Court TV, I broke that second accuser's story again, then covered the trial, and then my book came out right after the trial.
Yeah, the trial. Anybody who's curious, it's called "Be Careful Who You Love: Inside the Michael Jackson Case," and I. Now, that's for another visit, maybe, Diane Down, because I want to
just tell you, I wrote 4 extra chapters recently for that book, but they're only available on the audio version, and I'm reading the audio version. So,
that's cool.
If you're really interested in it, and then the update, grab yourself an audio book.
Diane, why don't they update the actual version I can buy online? That's sort of interesting to me. Why would that be?
Simon & Schuster, why didn't you want to do that? Okay, I don't know.
All right, guardianship.
Yeah.
This is a $300 billion industry that you write about, and there's no meaningful regulation around it. It's insanity. Explain what guardianship is and how somehow such a huge industry gets by with so little regulation.
Well, guardianship, simply put, is a state-run system. Every state has its own rules, regulations, guardianship court, and it's a system designed to help the most vulnerable people in America. Now, elderly people who don't have any family, they're having memory issues, maybe Alzheimer's or other health issues. Disabled people who live with disabilities, who need some help. This is the system that is designed to assign someone to them to help them manage their life. That's the simple bottom line. But as I write in the book, after 8 years investigating this issue, I can tell you the predators have moved in. There are a lot of great guardians and great conservators and great guardianship companies, but there are an awful lot of predators out there.
Right. And how do the predators operate such that these people to whom you've referred, who need the help, who might need a legitimate guardian and a guardianship, they can be taken advantage of? How does that happen?
Let me just tell you, guardianship, and then in some states it's called conservatorship, like in California where Britney Spears got caught up in it for so many years. How are they able to do it? Because there's no supervision. A judge will appoint someone to be guardian and then, probably never talk to them about that case again. They're supposed to file an annual auditing report about, where did the person's money go, called the ward of the court. Where did the ward's money go this last year? But a lot of them don't bother to file that report. And if they do, there's really nobody to look at those reports anyway to see.
So there's not a special court for these guardianships?
Well, there is. And let me start a little bit from the beginning. They're called equity courts.
Okay.
They're not criminal. They're not civil. They don't guarantee you due process. There's no trial. There are oftentimes no witnesses. And here's how it works in equity court. It might be called surrogate court or probate court, or different states call it different things, but it goes under equity court rules. A lawyer will write up a petition. Somebody comes to the lawyer and says, you know what, my aunt, my mother, my widowed father, they need some help. I want to be the guardian for them. Can you make me the legal guardian? And the lawyer says, absolutely. If it's an unscrupulous lawyer, in that petition will be a bunch of exaggerations, or I discovered some downright lies, like, oh, okay, Joe has come to me and he wants to be his father's guardian, but Joe's sister is kind of a pill. She's a problem. So in the petition, I'm going to put that the sister has stolen money from dad.
Wow.
Even if it's not true. And so then the judge gets this petition from an officer of the court, and the judge mostly these days, they just rubber stamp it. Oh, somebody stole money from this poor guy. Okay, guardianship, conservative. And then you can't get out. Yeah, yeah.
So what's so extraordinary to me is that, you can have a system within the system, this designated court that is used to evaluating these things, you would think, and so evaluating the veracity of various claims that come into the court, and yet you're suggesting, you can just say whatever you want and they get away with it.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of evaluation. I found it in many, many, many cases. They will sometimes the judge will appoint a psychiatrist or a psychologist or some geriatric person to say, hey, is this person really, incapacitated? That's what happens. The ward of the court is declared incapacitated. They lose all their civil rights and all of their wealth, their checking, their savings account, their homes, their cars, their collections, their heirloom, everything is confiscated by the court. That's where the $300 billion pot of money comes from that's just sitting there every year. And so, is it any wonder people with criminality in their minds decide to, hey, I'm going to be a guardian? Because the guardians, most states, there's only 3 states that require guardians to be licensed. California is one of them, Nevada, Alaska. And a lot of them don't even require certification, like some training to take over somebody else's life. So it's really fraught with problems in every single state. And it baffles me why someone hasn't done something about it at the federal level to make these states have a better system to help the most vulnerable.
Oh, here. It's astounding. It's
There are
astounding.
a lot of people into this system that aren't incapacitated at all.
And they've lost their ability to appeal on their own. That is kind of was the situation with Britney Spears, and that was the one. But there's a more recent example. The athlete Michael Oher. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That case is a little
different. Yeah.
Sketchy to me. Yeah, a conservatorship guardian. This person, whoever is assigned, and usually when a family member goes to court, I'm going to become the guardian. This is going to be great. The judges don't appoint you as the guardian. They appoint a for-profit professional to become the guardian. So in the Michael Oher case, who was in charge of all his money? He went on to the NFL and made $34 million.
Right.
I don't think the Tuohys were anywhere near that $34 million, but under conservatorship, they should have been. So I don't know, that there's something smells with that case.
Okay, so that's different than Britney Spears.
Uh-huh.
That's a case that we've all on some level become somewhat familiar with, where they say she's, doesn't have the capacity to handle her own stuff. I mean, isn't that essentially what they were saying in that case,
Yes.
Diane?
Yes, and that she was a danger to herself and or others.
Okay.
And, we look at what Britney Spears is putting online today, running around a dancing pole, barely dressed. And I'm wondering if there isn't still something that needs to be done for Britney Spears. But to take away somebody's civil rights and confiscate all their money, take away their right to even decide where they want to live, got to be a better way, doesn't there, Mark?
Diane, it's funny. Yes, and I want to ask you, and I'm so glad it's you that I'm asking this question to. When I see the Britney Spears case, I see a case of sexism. Now, I don't mean to sound like the libby lib dude that, I was always seeing it. But if that was a guy, I don't believe there would be this hue and cry about, oh, look at all these, provocative things he's posting online and he's lost control of his money. Kanye West is completely untethered. This dude stepped off the curb years ago. You don't hear about a conservatorship.
That's right.
There are many athletes who squander their money. There are a lot of people who make a lot of money quickly, or in show business or sports. They squander it and they say stupid things. You don't hear about a conservatorship. I think part of the Britney Spears thing, and this is I'm wrapping up here, but I'm really curious to your take.
Well, I like this.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is because she was a woman.
The hysterical woman, Yeah, in the book, I break some ground on some new things about the Britney Spears case, and I think you're exactly right. I believe that the Britney Spears conservatorship was conceived and approved illegally, and I explain why in the book. And it is mostly women that get tied up in this. It's women with money. I discuss in the book about women who are in contested divorces. Divorce attorneys are now telling their husbands, she's really a pill. Why don't we just guardianize her, and then she can't hire a lawyer to fight you? And these cases are being approved. Elderly widows, women outlive their husbands, and they are prime prey if they have any money. It's people with money who are the biggest prey. I mean, if we're really concerned about, helping at-risk people, why are there so many people sleeping on the street out there in Los Angeles or here in New York or in Philadelphia or Chicago?
Right, you don't see those people being put in a conservatorship. Although, I know that the care courts are something they're underway here. But there it is. We're here to help when guardianship goes wrong. Diane Dimond. And I mentioned Diane has done all these great investigative pieces. Michael Jackson. You did a book on Cirque du Soleil, didn't you?
Yeah, on the White House gate crashers. Yeah, the Salahi couple who did not actually break into the White House or crash that party, but that's another whole story.
Yeah, that's another story. They became like the media really went after them. I think they became clickbaity also. Maybe that for your next visit also. But I was going to get back to, but I just want to explain. Diane's done such great reporting in so many books related to stories that you may be roughly familiar with. The movie, I Care a Lot, was that what it was called?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was about conservatorship, and it sort of speaks to the industry that you talk about in your book, that there was well, you can speak to it, but essentially this is such a wide open industry that there is an opportunity for someone to essentially build a business just taking on conservatorships of a bunch of people that they don't even know.
Oh, absolutely. And it's all an interconnected industry. Some people have said, oh, it's a cottage industry. Well, that sounds so cute. To me, it's almost like organized crime, because the lawyers get the clients and they work with the same guardians, and the same guardians work with the same psychologists, and everybody that is sent to the psychologist is incapacitated. There's not one person who isn't incapacitated. And then there's the court visitor who will say, oh, yes, this person's their home. It's a mess. They really need protection. And then there's a conservator and a guardian ad litem. And they all work together on all these cases. So if a guardian finds a client, so to speak, someone to make a ward, they'll use the same lawyer over and over. And the lawyer will use the same psychologist and guardian. And it honestly, it begs a RICO, racketeering lawsuit. Now, that's been attempted in a couple of states, Texas and Illinois, for example, and it hasn't worked. But to me, it reeks of mafia style
Sure. Yeah.
tactics.
Has, just on that point, Diane Dimond, has the effort to reverse some of these conservatorships and go after some of these monies to claw back maybe some of these mini fortunes or whatever, has it been at all successful? In other words, in all your reporting, did you see any progress, or is it all just this sad story of a system really gone run amok?
Yeah, well, it's that for sure. But yes, there are some prosecutors now. You mentioned I Care a Lot. That Rosamund Pike character, I understand, was patterned after a woman named April Parks. She was a guardian in Nevada, had hundreds of clients, and the court loved her. The same judge kept appointing her, and oh my gosh, she's now in prison for up to 40 years for defrauding, elder abuse, elder neglect, fraud, stealing. After they sent her to prison, somebody bought up her abandoned storage locker, and they went in, and they're the urns, cemetery urns, cremated ashes in 27 different urns. Now, why didn't she send those back to the families? Why did she just cremate everybody? The answer is because she could. Nobody stopped her. There's another guardian in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She and her husband, company, stole $11 million. And she was stupid enough to steal Social Security money. So the feds came after her. She's in prison for 47 years. But honestly, Mark, case after case, I found these guardians who did dastardly, financially devastating things to their wards mostly got a slap on the wrist. So if you're not going to punish them, the perverted system is going to just keep going forward.
And the other sad reality, I suppose, Diane, is that there are situations, some of which you've referred to along the way here, that, these conservatorships are set up to help, somebody who does require assistance and maybe disconnected. And, my lovely mother, who's she went to Yale, she's a Fulbright scholar, she's a brilliant woman. But, now she's 93 and she's scammable and she is getting scammed. I wouldn't put her in a conservatorship over it. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying that you don't know what you're signing sometimes, and you're vulnerable in ways at that age, and you think the best of people. I think it's an old world image that you have of things around you. This is, again, I'm just sort of suggesting this based on personal experience maybe, but I've also seen it happen with others. And so it's sad because guardianship is something that could be so helpful in some of these instances.
Oh, and it is. Listen, we as a society, we need this. We need good, well-run, compassionate guardianships. And there are a lot of them out there, especially if a family member is named as the guardian. But more and more judges are turning to this little industry and appointing the for-profit guardian who can charge, or conservator, who can charge up to $600 an hour and hire whoever else they want to take care of the ward. So yes, we do need guardianship, and many of them work well. And I discuss ones that work well in the book. Some good celebrity cases, for example, where guardianship really helped. But that's not basically what this book is about. This book is about how the system has completely run off the rails. Yeah. And nobody's doing anything about it.
Again, the book is We're Here to Help. When guardianship goes wrong, you see it there. Diane Dimond, you can get the book everywhere. And you see her website, dianedimond.com. There's a new updated audio version also of is it the Michael Jackson book that you updated?
Yes.
Or yeah,
yes.
The Michael Jackson book, which is called Be Careful Who You Love. Diane, you've done so much great stuff. I'd love to just have you come and hang out and answer a couple of questions another day because
please, anytime.
Yeah, you've really been, I mean, your journalism, your writing, you've really done so many great things, and I congratulate you on this latest. Again, it's called We're Here to Help When Guardianship Goes Wrong. You'll visit again. Thanks, Diane Dimond.
Anytime. Thank you, Mark.
Diane Dimond, everybody. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.